Lee Marsh. How did Adam feel about doing a private commission? Will he do more? Yes, I recently built a spacesuit. I built a replica of Boeing's, of the Starliner suit designed by the wonderful people at ILC Dover. It is on display now down in at Canaveral in Florida, I believe. And it was the first private commission I have done in 2 decades. Yeah, since 2002, honestly. I was a few days into it, and I was coming home at the end of a day of working on it. I hired some amazing people to build it with me. And I was going home and I was telling my wife, I'm like, there's this feeling I'm feeling, and it feels familiar but unfamiliar. And then as I unpacked it, I realized it was client stress. It was, right, the old feeling of like, you want to make the client happy. I haven't felt that in a long time, because for the last 20 years, my brand has been like, I build it and maybe it works and maybe it doesn't, but it'll at least make a good story on screen. But the client doesn't care about what the story was of the making of the thing. They just want a perfect object. And making a perfect object, well, that's stressful. I want the client to be happy. I want them to spread the word to other people. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed making that spacesuit. I'm very proud of the work. It's really lovely. And look, all I did was replicate ILC Dover's incredible work. They reached out to me and they were pleased with, ILC Dover was pleased with my work. And that was all I was thinking about, was those amazing engineers would see my replication of their incredible work, and their eyes would see things that I didn't even see, I'm sure. So I was all like, I really hope they like it. And well, they did. Yes, I will do more. If you need a spacesuit, you can find me through various channels. They're spendy, to be clear. But yeah, I wouldn't mind making some more. Let's see here. Oh, you once mentioned the lovely old vise attached to the bench behind you as a subject for a future one-day rebuild. That's my beautiful Wilton bullet vise right here. Yeah. I may. Yes, I will eventually do a rebuild out of it. I have been thinking about choosing a specific color of hammerite finish and then going through all my cast iron pieces here in the shop and giving them that finish. There's a thing that happens when you're a young itinerant maker of props and sets and things, is that you are frequently bringing your own toolkit to a foreign shop that is not your shop. And when you do that, it's easy to lose track of your tools. And so one of the things that we all do is paint when we travel with our tools, we paint our tools a specific color. My tools were always yellow and orange stripes. And in fact, I showed a couple of weeks ago, I showed my the very first Makita battery I ever had, and it has yellow and orange stripes on it. Specifically because I would go to other shops where they had Makita, 9.6 volt Makita batteries, and I didn't want anyone to think I was leaving with their battery. And I also didn't want anyone to leave with my battery. So although I don't travel with my tools anymore into other people's shops where that's a concern, I still love the idea of a shop having a specific color. So I'm looking at my die filer over here. It's unpainted, the Wilton vise, and there's a few other bits of machine tools and things that could get a nice treatment. I think I have a lime green hammerite paint can in there that I was thinking about for this. It is still percolating. So you've asked that I please put that back on the list. Consider it done. The Tiffany Aching. That is who asked that question. Let's see here. We have some. C2C asks, new member question for you. Wondering if you have anything on your bucket list that doesn't directly involve making or TV movie production. Yes, I do. I was recently at an amazing tiny conference in Vail, Colorado. It was about a month ago. And present at this conference were several National Geographic explorers and some amazing alpinists and humanitarians. And I was inspired by all of them. And watching them tell their stories the doctor who treated Beck Weathers on that fateful Everest disaster that Into Thin Air is about. One of the first Americans to summit K2 because they didn't know you couldn't do that. I was so inspired by these stories, and I decided to put it on my list that I would like to go on an expedition. But more than that, I don't just want to go to an expedition to be color commentary, which I think would be a lot of people's first thought about why I would go on an expedition. I think I could be useful. I think I am a useful monkey in the field, and that my skill set lends itself to in situ resource utilization, which is exactly what you need on an expedition. And so I think it's very important to me in the next 3 or 4 years that I would like to go on an expedition and be useful in the field of conservation, archaeology, exploration, because there are some remarkable places in the world that are very hard to get to, and there are some amazing things to discover when we do get there. And I would love to play even a tiny role in such a thing. And Chris Hadfield told me years ago, we have always sent our best and our brightest out to the edge of the known to report back on what we found there. And watching these, one of the things that I noted about listening to the stories of these alpinists and these explorers was they started doing it because they were interested in the world, and they were like super fascinated by the field that they were interested in. And the more they explored, the more they looked around. And there's this way in which diving into the thing you're really fascinated by makes you see the world from a wider perspective. And every single one of these stories ended in a humanitarian mission of some kind or other to make the world a better place for somebody somewhere. I think that's a really remarkable thing. I don't think a lot of people realize that like the climbs that Jimmy Chin and his friends do in Meru leads to such more amazing excursions, because what they've gone through to do that, it doesn't make them look more into themselves. It makes them look more out into the world. And I'd love some of that experience. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to support us even further, you can by becoming a tested member. Details are, of course, below, but it includes all sorts of perks, and we're building them all the time. You get advanced word and behind-the-scenes photos of some of our projects. Questions, you get to ask direct questions during my live streams, and we have some members-only videos, including the Adam real-time series of unbroken, unedited shots of me working here in the shop. They are weirdly meditative. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you on the next one.